You walked out to your garden this morning, coffee in your hand, and there they are again. Yellow heads scattered across the grass, green pushing up through every crack in the walk. You pulled every last one of them not 2 weeks ago. Your hands still remember the work of it, the ache in your knees from kneeling, the dirt you scrubbed out from under your nails. And here they stand, like you never touched them at all. Like the whole afternoon you spent on them was nothing but a dream you had. I want to tell you something my mother told me when I was a girl, kneeling beside her in the kitchen garden, frustrated near to tears because the weeds kept beating me. She said, "You are not losing because you are weak. You are losing because nobody ever taught you what you are actually fighting." And that is the truth I want to hand down to you today, the same way it was handed down to me. We have kept a garden on this same land for as long as anyone in my family can remember. Every single season, through good years and lean ones. 7 children I have raised on what comes out of that ground, fed them through long winters from what I put up in the root cellar. And I can tell you, the weed has not changed in all that time. The dandelion my grandmother fought is the very same dandelion in your lawn this morning. It has not gotten cleverer. It has not gotten stronger. Only the way folks fight it has changed, and I am sorry to say it has not changed for the better. It has gotten more expensive and less honest, both at once. Because here is what is really happening when you pull that dandelion. You feel the leaves give. You see the green come up in your hand, and your heart says, "There, got it." But that plant has a root that runs straight down into the earth, deep as your forearm sometimes, thick and pale and stubborn. And when you pull from the top, that root stays right where it is. You snapped the plant off at the shoulders and left the whole body of it alive underground. You did not kill it. You pruned it. You did that weed a kindness, the very same kindness you do a rose bush when you cut it back so it comes in fuller and stronger next spring. And in a week, sometimes in only a few days, that root pushes a brand new crown of leaves up through the soil to laugh at you. That is the whole sorrow of it. And I want you to hear me, because this part matters. Folks are not failing for lack of trying. My goodness, I have watched neighbors, good and hard-working people, the kind who would help you raise a barn, out there every Saturday morning on their hands and knees in the hot sun, pulling, and the weeds beat them every single time. Not because those people are lazy, not because they did not care enough or work hard enough, but because nobody ever once told them they were pruning their weeds instead of killing them. They were doing the work faithfully and getting nothing for it, and that is a particular kind of heartbreak. To labor hard at a thing and have it come to nothing, not knowing why. Now, let us get back to these weeds because I have a great deal to show you. So, here is the first thing you must understand. You do not have one weed problem, you have 2, and they are not the same fight, no matter how much they look alike to you standing on your back step. The weeds standing up in your lawn are one trouble. The weeds creeping up through the cracks of your walk and your patio are another trouble entirely. The old women in our district understood this plain as day. You do not fight them the same way, because they live in 2 different kinds of places, and the place is everything. Treat them alike, and you will lose both battles at once. So, we are going to take them one at a time, patient and proper, the way you ought to. Start with the lawn, because that is where most folks do the most damage to themselves. When you have a dandelion, a plantain, a thistle standing alone in the grass, anything with that one deep root running straight down like a carrot, you do not, you must not, Grab it with your bare fingers and yank. I know the yanking feels good. I know there is a satisfaction in it, feeling that green come loose in your hand. But you already know now what that satisfaction is worth. Nothing. Less than nothing, because it sends you back inside thinking the job is done. What you want instead is a long-handled weeding fork, the kind you can stand straight up and lean your weight into. My grandmother had one with a hickory handle, worn smooth as river glass from 40 years of her hands, and I keep one very near like it to this day, leaned in the corner of my garden shed. You push the forked end down into the soil right alongside the root. You rock the handle back and lever against the earth, and the whole plant lifts up out of the ground, leaves, crown, and that long pale root. All of it together in one piece. That is the entire difference between winning and losing. You are not breaking the plant off at the neck and leaving the body to heal itself. You are lifting the whole living thing out of the earth at one time. So, there is nothing left below to grow back. It works beautifully on anything with that single deep taproot, and it is honest, quiet work. No spray, no smell, no waiting around, just you and the tool and the plant coming up whole. But I will be straight with you, because being straight with you is the only way I know how to teach, and the only way I would want to be taught myself. That fork is the right answer for one weed here and one weed there, a dandelion in the middle of the yard, a thistle by the fence post. But if your whole lawn has gone over to clover spreading across it in great sheets, or creeping buttercup running in wide patches from one side to the other, you will be out there forking each one until the good Lord calls you home, and you will never reach the end of it. For that kind of spread, there is a thing called a selective weed killer, and I want to explain it to you plainly, because this is exactly where most folks make their very worst mistake. Selective is the important word, and it means something specific. It means the product is made to harm only the broadleaf weeds, your dandelion, your clover, your daisy, the wide-leafed ones, while leaving your grass standing completely untouched beside them. Now, you might wonder how a thing could be so particular. It can do that because grass is built different on the inside than a broadleaf plant is. They are made different down at the root of how they grow, and the killer is made to trouble the one kind and pass right over the other. Now, I will tell you honestly and look you in the eye about it. This is a manufactured product. It is not something that comes out of my pantry or my grandmother's recipe book. And because of that, you must follow the directions on that label as careful as you would follow Scripture. Put it down only on a dry, still day. Never with rain coming in the next day or two, because the rain will wash it off before it can work. And never on a windy day, because the wind will carry it where you never meant it to go. Keep your little ones and your animals well off that grass until it has dried all the way through, every bit of it. Then, give it 2 to 3 weeks of patience. The weeds will yellow, then curl, then die back down into the ground, and your grass will quietly close over the empty places where they were, healing the lawn on its own. And now, here's the part that nobody ever tells you. The part that actually keeps those weeds gone for good instead of just for a season. You must stop cutting your grass so short. I mean it. Folks scalp their lawns right down close to the bare dirt because they think it looks tidy and trim. And all they have truly done is throw the front door wide open and invite the weeds back in. Here is why. A weed seed needs light to wake up and sprout. It can lie there in the soil patient as anything, waiting for its chance. And when you cut your grass down to the nub, You let the sunlight pour straight down onto that bare soil, and every seed lying there wakes right up. But when you let your grass stand tall, 3 good inches, 4 even, thick and full, that grass shades the soil so completely that the light never reaches the seeds at all. No light, no waking, no waking, no weed. Your own lawn becomes the wall that keeps them out, standing guard for you day and night without you lifting a finger. My mother never owned a single bottle of anything in her life, not one. And her grass was thick as the wool on a sheep's back, deep green and soft to walk on. And it was thick precisely because she understood this one thing that the bottle sellers will never tell you, that a strong, healthy, tall stand of grass does the guarding all by itself. The tall grass is the one that survives and holds the ground season after season, and the survivors are the ones that hold. She did not fight the weeds. She grew grass so strong the weeds never got a foothold to begin with. That is a different way of thinking about the whole business, and it is the older and the wiser way. Now, the walk is a whole different matter, and you must not carry your lawn methods over onto it, nor your patio methods back onto the lawn. The weeds coming up between your paving stones and along the edges of your patio, these you are allowed to fight a good deal harder. And here is the reason why. There is no good grass there for you to protect. It is just stone and seam. So, you can use stronger, blunter methods on the walk that you would never dare bring near your lawn. But here is the mistake I see folks make most often, and it is a costly one. They reach for a total weed killer, the strong kind that kills everything green it touches, and they go spraying it all up and down across the stone with a heavy hand. And it does kill what is growing on the stone, sure enough. I will not say it doesn't. But the least little bit of that spray drifts sideways onto the lawn, and it will drift. Hear me. It always drifts. There is always a breath of wind you did not feel. And now you have got dead brown patches scattered through your good grass that will take you months and months to coax back to green. You have traded a few weeds in your walk for bald spots in your lawn. That is a poor trade. So, on the stone, we use older and gentler methods. Methods that stay exactly where you put them and do not go wandering. The first one costs you absolutely nothing. Not 1 penny. And it is the very one folks overlook, because it seems far too simple to possibly work. Boiling water. That is all. The next time you drain your kettle or pour off the water from your boiled potatoes, do not tip it down the sink. Carry that pot out to the walk and pour it slow and careful, right down onto the weeds growing up between your stones. The heat tears the plant apart on contact, breaks the cells of it right down, root and crown together. Give it a day, maybe 2 at the most, and those weeds will be brown and finished and easy to sweep away. No bottle to buy, no chemical residue left behind on the stone where your children play, no money spent at all. Just be careful now that water comes off the stove hot enough to scald you badly. So, wear good shoes, pour slow, and make certain your little ones are well clear and inside before you carry it out the door. The second method is a mixture the old gardeners have leaned on for just about as long as anyone can remember. You take plain white vinegar, ordinary table salt, and just a small squeeze of dish soap, and you stir them all together. Each one does its own particular job. The vinegar cuts straight through the waxy skin on the leaf, the part that normally protects the plant, and sheds water off it. The salt pulls the moisture right out of the plant and dries it down to nothing, the same way salt has cured and dried meat in cellars for hundreds of years. And the little bit of dish soap makes the whole mixture cling to the leaf and stay put instead of beating up and running right off onto the ground. You lay it directly onto the weeds on a warm, dry day when the sun will help it along. But you must hear me very clearly on this next part, because it is the part that gets folks in trouble. That salt sours the ground where it lands, and it does not forget, and it does not forgive. Salt poisons soil for a good long while, and nothing wants to grow where it has soaked in. Now, that is the very reason it works so wonderfully well down in the dead cracks of your stone walk where you want nothing to grow ever. And it is the very same reason you must never, ever let that mixture touch your lawn or splash into the soil of your garden bed. Keep it strictly on the stone, far away from anything you ever hope to see grow green again. Used in the right place, it is a fine old tool. Used in the wrong place, it will break your heart. For the stubborn ones, the weeds that have rooted themselves down deep into a joint and will not be pulled or poured out, you want a wire brush or a narrow patio knife. You work the blade right along the seam between the stones, scraping the root up and out of the crack, and then you sweep all the leavings clean away. It is a bit of work for the arm, but it is sure work, and it gets the whole root. And if you happen to have a great long stretch of walk or a wide patio to clear all at once, there is a flame tool, a little torch on the end of a long wand, and one slow, steady pass of the flame finishes the plant right where it stands, withers it on the spot. No spray, no salt, nothing left behind in the cracks. I will only say this: mind the dry season carefully. Keep that flame well away from anything dry that would catch and spread, and never use it near your house siding or a wooden fence. Fire is a good servant and a terrible master, as the old folk said. But now I want you to stop and think with me for a moment, because pulling and pouring and burning and scraping is only the half of it, and it is honestly the lesser half. Here's the question almost nobody ever stops to ask. Why are these weeds in your walk in the first place? Why there of all places up through solid stone? And the answer is this: the gaps between your paving stones are not gaps at all. They are little open garden beds, soft, sheltered, protected places where a wind-blown seed can land, settle in, find a bit of grit and damp, and make itself right at home. So you can clear out that weed 100 times over. But if you have done nothing about the bed it grew from, you have done nothing at all that lasts. You must close the bed itself, so you fill those joints. You can use what they call kiln-dried sand, or the better kind called polymer sand, and you will find either one waiting for you at any builder's yard or garden store for just a few dollars a bag. You sweep that sand down into the seams between the stones, and you work it in hard, packing it down tight with the broom until there is no open gap left anywhere for a seed to fall into. The polymer kind is the better of the two by a good margin because, once you wet it down with the hose, it sets up firm, almost like a soft mortar. And then there is simply nowhere left at all for a seed to take hold and grow. It is one single afternoon of honest work, and it saves you every weekend you would otherwise have spent down on your aching knees for the whole rest of the season and the season after that. My grandmother used to say that the wise woman does a job once and does it properly, instead of doing the same small job over and over forever. Sealing those joints is exactly the kind of once-and-done work she was talking about. It is the difference between a household that runs steady and one that is always chasing the same trouble around in circles. Now, I want to be honest with you about who all this serves, because I will tell you plainly, it troubles my heart. Walk into any garden store in the springtime, and you will see a whole long wall of bottles waiting for you. A different spray for every weed. A different powder for every season of the year. a fresh jug for every patch of trouble. And every single one of them needs buying all over again the very next year, because none of them ever quite solves the thing for good. There is awfully good money in a problem that never quite gets fixed. Now, I am not standing here telling you there is a room full of men somewhere plotting in the dark to keep your dandelions coming back. It is worse than that, and stranger than that. It is a system, and the terrible thing about it is that nobody anywhere has to sit down and coordinate it. Everybody up the line does just fine for themselves when you keep coming back to buy another bottle. And nobody up that line does well at all when you solve the thing once and for good, with a kettle of boiling water and a few dollar bag of sand. So, the simple answers, the cheap ones, the permanent ones, the ones my mother and grandmother knew by heart. They just quietly slip right out of the conversation. They are not hidden away. Nobody burned them. They are just never mentioned. And a thing that is never mentioned might just as well be lost entirely, because it does nobody any good sitting forgotten. That truly is the whole reason I sit down and make these videos for you. Just to mention again the good plain things that stopped getting mentioned somewhere along the way. So, that is your weeds. The lawn fought one way with the fork and the tall grass. The walk fought another way with the kettle and the salt, and the joint sealed up tight afterward. So all that good work actually holds and does not undo itself. But I will tell you what is coming, because I do not want it to catch you by surprise. Once you have lifted out those big, deep taproots and killed off those thick, spreading patches, you are going to walk outside one morning and notice something brand new staring back at you. Bare dirt, right where the weeds used to be. Ugly brown spots, thin and empty and sad-looking, sitting right in the middle of your good green grass. They come from the old weeds that crowded the grass out, from feet wearing the same path day after day, from the dog who lies in the very same cool spot all summer long. So, I want you to do something for me. Go look at your lawn. Really look at it. And if you have got those bare patches showing, tell me about it down in the comments. Tell me your county and the age of your house. I read them, every one, and it tells me a great deal about what kind of ground and what kind of climate you are all working with out there. Because how to heal those bare spots, how to coax thick green grass back into them fast and make them disappear is exactly what I am going to show you in the very next video. There is an old comfort in this kind of work, you know, and I feel it every spring. The dandelion has been coming up through the same kind of cracks since long before my grandmother knelt in the dirt, and longer still before that. And a kettle of plain boiling water answered it then exactly the same as it answers it for you now this morning in your own garden. Some things in this life do not need improving on. They do not need a new bottle or a better formula. They only need remembering, so come on back for the next one, and we will get that good grass growing green and thick again together. If this story changed the way you look at the weeds in your garden, please subscribe and like the channel. We are uncovering the history they tried to bury. Plant the future. The next treasure will be opened soon.